Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This episode is brought to you by The Wellness Paradigm, a holistic health coaching company shifting the way that women understand and heal their bodies. Through bioenergetic testing, functional lab testing, and functional nutrition, we uncover what traditional approaches often overlook. So you can stop guessing, start healing, and finally feel like yourself again. No more one size fits all protocols, just real answers, deep rooted healing, and the clarity and confidence you deserve to feel incredible. It's time to shift the paradigm of women's health. Now, on to the show. And good morning, Jennifer. I guess good
Hi,
afternoon.
Shannon. Thank you so much for having me. Oops.
Yes, I'm so glad you're here. I think it'll be such a fun, really unique, interesting conversation around, the mind, body, pain, and just like all these incredible tools people don't even know exist to help just get your body out of that. And Jenny, you have a really cool background. You have a PhD in spiritual healing, and you're a trauma-informed certified hypnotherapist, EFT and NLP practitioner, as well as a breathwork facilitator. Woo, it's a lot of things there. And so I'm going to kind of just hand the mic over to you a little bit and tell us a little bit more about, for maybe somebody that's not familiar with what these terms even mean, what they are, how you got started in this work, and we'll dive in from there.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the show. So, my name is Jenny, and my first hypnotherapy session made me quit my job and travel the world while working online. That is a big statement, right?
Yeah,
So, my first session, I don't remember what I did. I just remember that the hypnotherapist put all my problems into a hot air balloon, let them fly away, and I visualized all of that. And then the next morning, I'm like, I'm gonna quit this job. I'm gonna travel the world, and I'm just gonna live a completely different life. Who cares, you know? And then I made the decision. I told my bosses 2 weeks later. I was on the road 6 months later, and I kind of all only now have settled down. But then, as I was on the road, I discovered more how hypnosis made an impact on my life when it comes to really helping with the relationship that I had with my mom, because we went from very estranged to quite close. And then it helped me with my business mindset, with my money mindset, and with a lot of other things. And when you go dive into one modality, I will say that you will explore a whole lot more. And I also had a podcast, and I still have it, but it's not as I don't record as regularly. But I discovered people who do EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. It's tapping. I discovered breath work. I discovered all the other things that I kind of got curious into studying as well. And then finally, last year I decided to do my, or no, like it was about 3 years ago when I decided to do my PhD in spiritual healing, where I then was able to actually do my own case study and take 5 women who had endometriosis and help them with hypnosis and hypnotherapy to reduce their pain, reduce their symptoms, and increase their emotional well-being. So hypnosis has had the biggest impact on my life. I even teach it now. So this is how I kind of got into this world of different healing modalities.
Yeah, you said something, and I feel like as a practitioner, it's like the more you dive in, the more you want to know about everything. It just opens your mind to so many different things. And, hypnotherapy, I would love for you to describe a little bit more for somebody that maybe is not familiar, because a lot of people think, hypnotherapy, I'm going to like levitate and like, be out of my body, right? And, EFT, NLP, people don't really understand what those things are as well. Can you talk a little bit more about why you would use those techniques and what kind of like what they really are?
Yes, absolutely. So hypnotherapy is not what well, it is kind of what you see on cruise ships or on TV or something, but not completely, right? This is stage hypnosis. This is all for entertainment. But what we do in hypnotherapy, not in hypnosis, but in hypnotherapy, is actually we can get to the root cause of whatever your problem is, whether it's a health problem, relationship problem, money problem, within one session. We can get to the root cause, we can release the root cause, and your life can completely change like mine did within a single session. And it's simply working with relaxation. It's like you're doing therapy in relaxation. That's all we do. There's no magic to it. It's not mind control. It's nothing crazy. It's no, witchy thing or woo-woo thing or whatever. It's just really scientifically proven as well. That is hypnotherapy for you. And then we have EFT, which is a technique that will tap on certain points in your body, also called the meridian points, which is where the energy flows through your body. And if the energy flowing through your body is blocked, you may experience physical or mental problems or issues, so to say, right? And then if we get to tap on these points while we speak out certain things that we need to talk about, then you will also feel a relief, you will feel better, and your life may also change. And in breath work, what I really love about breath work is that we can get into a state of complete bliss, into a state of complete oneness with the universe, into a state of complete release from a trauma only with our breath. We don't need any kind of drugs. We don't need any kind of medicine. We just need our breath. So this is what holotropic breath work in particular does for you. There's other types of breath work, which is like you can use, against anxiety or depression, but the breath work I'm talking about is holotropic breathing or conscious consecutive breathing, which is simply a form of experiencing what your body is capable of when it comes to bliss, joy, and releasing trauma. Or in my case, I also downloaded my complete hypnosis course after a 30-minute breathwork session. You can do that as well. So you're really connected to a source, to the universe with breathwork. And an NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, which also really is simply a technique to help you create new habits and to perform at your best.
Yeah, and it's so fun to see all those things used together because, I mean, they all have their own kind of time and place. And I've seen crazy breathwork sessions and the like perfect, not the perfect, people releasing so much just through breath. And I remember that my first experience, I was like, what is this? It was a little bit alarming because I was just like breathing, just chilling, and everyone's like, some of the people are like yelling or like releasing, and you're like, whoa, like this is fascinating how much our body stores that we can't really tap into sometimes on a very conscious level. But you mentioned endometriosis, and I work with a lot of clients with endo, and this is unfortunately, I think, becoming a lot more rampant. And I'd be curious on your take on how to help clients with endo, but also certain like patterns you see that are really common with these certain clients. Um, if you want to also dive a little bit into, I think a lot of people are misdiagnosed or just underdiagnosed with endometriosis as well. Like they're having a lot of those symptoms, maybe haven't gotten quite diagnosed yet as well. So some symptoms that maybe clients are experiencing when they come to you as well.
Absolutely. So one thing I will say, it doesn't matter if you've been diagnosed or not. What I'm about to tell you can change and shift everything for you. Doesn't matter if you're diagnosed or not, or if you have all the symptoms or not. But symptoms that are common in endometriosis is severe period pain. It is pain when you have intercourse. It is bloating. It is anything like your womb is just like you don't like your womb when you have endo, right? You even hate it and you don't want to be in your body. You have anxiety because of it, because every single month you dread your cycle and it just feels like absolute shit, right? Oftentimes it's also coupled with Hashimoto's or celiac disease. And so you're really feeling like your body's working against you and like you don't want to be in it and it stresses you out and then the mental aspect comes to it as well, right? You may be depressed, you may be anxious or anything like that. So with anything in our womb, right? As women, there are certain root causes that cause any womb disease, womb ailment, or that also cause difficulties with pregnancies or fertility. So, what I've come to find in my research, as well as in my own case study that I did, were certain root causes for all of these womb ailments and diseases. When you read books so there's one certain book that I really want to give to everyone. It's called The Encyclopedia of Ailments and Diseases by Jacques Martel. In this book, he has a root cause, an emotional root cause for every single disease in the world, like anything with your eyes, with your mouth, with your chest, with your stomach, anything, right? And he says that endometriosis comes from you not being in your feminine energy, which means you not being in your creativity, working with your intuition, trusting yourself, all of that. He also says it has to do with our feelings toward becoming a mother, It can also have to do with sexual assault. And this is often the case. This is always the case. Like when you have problems with your womb, you are not in your feminine energy. Something feels off about either having kids, wanting kids. Maybe you've had a difficult childhood where you don't want to put a child into this place, but also with your creative expression. So, for example, if you're someone who's an artist and who's like, oh, I feel like shit because I have endo and I don't want to create because I don't feel worthy of creating or putting art out there when I feel like my worst, like who am I to deserve any kind of recognition for my art? Or I've also found that all women that have been in the case study, they're much out of their feminine energy, which means simply that they are doing too much. They're not asking for support. They are acting with from their logical mind, not from their intuition. They're completely disconnected from their bodies.
Hmm.
And then the other big root cause for any womb disease is something happened in your maternal ancestral line, meaning either your mother or your grandmother already had the disease, they've been betrayed, maybe their voices have been suppressed, maybe there was something that happened in their past that really, really impacted every single line of mothers from you, from your ancestors, which was also a huge, huge root cause. That was the biggest one, actually. 3 out of 5 women had that one. And we spoke to the grandmothers, we spoke to the mothers, the great grandmothers, and the women down the ancestral lines. And we actually healed that. And also the ancestors, when you have ancestors come to you in a session, in a hypnosis session, they want to help you heal. They want to help you release. They want to help you get rid of your pain and your symptoms. And they're proud of you because you're the one who chooses healing. You are the one who chooses to heal the whole shit that all the ancestors had to go through and everything that happened for them. So they're actually really proud of you and they want to help you get rid of anything that is in your womb. So for anyone, I can really just say, if you have any type of issue with your womb, look into ancestral things, whether it's with breathwork or EFT or hypnosis, whatever modality you choose.
I talk about this a lot on the podcast, and I think I'm, for lack of better words, very relatable on this because if you would have told me a few years ago that ancestral healing would be something I'd be talking about, I would be like, no, absolutely not. But the more you dive into it, the more you're like, wow, there really is so much to this. And, I do bioresonance work, and through our bioresonance testing, we see generational patterns, we see ancestral patterns, and we can actually tie things and quantify things, on certain sides or lineages, which is crazy because, again, I'm a very logical brain person who loves the energy world too, but needs to quantify it for somebody. Now, why I'm saying that is oftentimes it's very hard to feel bought into that, right? With endo, it can be very complicated, right? And you're in so much pain. People are like, can I just take the supplement? Like, why do your doctor's like, all you need is progesterone, right? And that's the answer. And then your functional doctor's like, you just need a parasite cleanse, right? And all those can have their time and place, but like people come in, it's like, actually, we need to talk to your ancestors. And people are like, okay, so for somebody that is skeptical on this, right? I would love to know how you maybe describe this or some different experiences you've also had because I understand the power of this, but I would love to be able to share it more for people to feel a little bit more like this could be really a missing link for them.
So with what I do is I always ask, so people come to me because they want to find the root cause, right? They want to find the emotional root cause. So I don't even tell them that we're going into ancestral stuff, and then it just happens, right? In hypnosis. And so all I need from you is to be open. Let's say you don't believe in it, or let's say you don't know if you believe in it. All I need for you is to be open. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have anything to lose. You
Yep.
don't have anything to lose. Nothing. Like, you are feeling bad. You are trying to get to the root cause. You are trying to find relief from your pain and from your symptoms. So what else do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose.
Yep.
If it's money that you have to lose, then I'll give you your money back if it's not, if it doesn't help you. I don't care about that. I care about your healing. So you don't have anything to lose. And I've had a client actually that came to me that did not believe in all of this stuff, but it so happened that we talked to her ancestors. And after the session, she was like, you know what? Maybe there's something to this. And I want
Get
to
that.
get more into this and I want to get deeper into this. So this also happens, you know? So it's really a thing about just being open and just knowing that you are with someone who is experienced with this and I got your back during the session, or you don't have to go through this alone. Like we're here to do this together.
Yeah, I like that because so often, even in my work, right, switching from more labs to energy medicine, it's like people are like, "Oh, I'm not sure." I'm like, just be open to it, because there's like it's only going to really help, right? You know, but it's hard when you can't almost quantify it or you can't see it, when you're working with this work. And I think that's some of the most powerful work possible. Um, so I love that we're having this conversation about it, especially around something like endo, because this can feel like an uphill battle, even with all of the testing, all of the work. I've seen so many clients, really, really struggle with it. So can you talk a little bit of the results that you've seen some clients see when they have gone through a session or two or however many,
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, like it's a little
there's
bit
a
of
little
time difference, but
bit.
okay. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about it. So before that, I also just want to add something. So imagine your mother is pregnant with you. Do you really think that it has no impact on you whatsoever if she was stressed during pregnancy or if it was a pregnancy that was unwanted or anything, right? So, and then same with her grandmother. So this is just a little thing that I want to say to everyone who's skeptical. Do you really think that this doesn't impact you? Because anything impacts you from the womb. But okay, if somebody is skeptical, that's still fine. But let's talk about the results because the results speak for themselves. Um, I had one client who came to me. She was in the ER sometimes from her period pain. That's how much pain she had. After our sessions, we did like 3 sessions, or even two or three. I can't remember, 2 or 3. After her sessions, she said she's looking forward to her cycle now. She says she's looking forward to her cycle and she's so proud that she gets to heal this whatever her ancestors have carried for so long, right? She's proud of that. She's looking forward to her cycles and they're manageable now. And there's so much less pain. There are less symptoms. And it was crazy. And then the other one came to me. She was like, you know what? I have PMS, I have mood swings, I have cravings, and even my husband is suffering. I make him suffer. And I'm sorry about that. And then she said, she has really crazy period pain. One session, it took one session with her ancestors. And then she was like, Jenny, I told my husband today that I'm on my period. And he was like, wait, what? Just like that? There was no mood swings, there was no cravings, there was no nothing. And it was wild. And then she even went dancing on the first day on her period. How insane is that? Like, this is what ancestral healing does, right? And then there was another one who said she's now doing HIIT workouts, also in a phase of her cycle where previously it wasn't unheard of. So, and then something else that is just a physical healing, but I've had a friend of mine, my best friend last year, she went through a year of back pain. Nobody could help her, nothing helped her, no exercise, no nothing. Year of back pain gone within one session. Like physical symptoms can be gone because you work on your mental shit. Give it a try. I've done it too. I've done it too. I know what I'm talking about. I've done it as well.
Well, it's so true though. I actually was having this conversation with somebody at a conference this weekend where we're both kind of a blend of the energy world and the very logical world, right? And, we were having a conversation around pain and about like, is it energetic? Is it physical? Is it like, how do we know? And, one thing I wish people did understand is, and this is, coming from somebody who dealt with chronic pain with a rampant autoimmune disease for years, it's like you can do all of the physical work, even all of like the gut healing work and stuff that has helped, me tremendously. But that nervous system piece is just the absolute huge missing component. But then you take it a level further where it's like, okay, you're doing breath work, you're doing, whatever certain nervous system work, you like. And then you go a step further with ancestral healing, which is just fascinating, truly. Because we don't realize how much our body holds on. That's not our fault. and that we don't consciously, know is a thing. Um, so yeah, this topic is really fascinating to me to understand. Still something I'm understanding more and more, but the more I see it, the more I'm like, oh my God, like this is nuts.
It is, and it's so if anyone who loves researching and who loves their data and logical things and understanding, then I can recommend to look into epigenetics.
Yeah.
Dr. Bruce Lipton has done a lot of research on that, and I think he's the one who coined epigenetics, but it's called there's a book that's called The Biology of Belief, and it really goes into deep, deep detail on how our biology affects our beliefs and how our beliefs then affect our reality, right? And then there is a book by Bessel van der Kolk, who talks about how our bodies keep the score. It's called, I think, Your Body Keeps the Score. That's what the book is called. So these are just some places where people who are interested in this can do more research and can really dive into this and have also people who have a scientific background talk about it, and also anything by Gabor Mate as well, who talks about that. And it's so interesting. And I want to actually, can I go into a really crazy story from my client where we did what we did in ancestral healing? So she was one of my study participants, and we went into the root cause for her endometriosis. And all of a sudden, like we had her grandmother show up, right? And her grandmother told us that she's in the wrong grave. And I was like, huh? And me as a hypnotherapist, I'm like, okay, I got to deal with this now. Like, I don't know where this is going to take us, but I have to deal with it. So let's go. Let's do it. So the grandma was like, I'm in the wrong grave. I was like, okay, why is that? And then, turns out that the person next to her in whose grave she was had done something to her. And so she just wanted to be somewhere else. So I was like, okay, so can we move you into a different grave? Is that possible? Can we move your spirits? And so we moved her whole entire spirit into her village where she was born and where she actually wanted to be, all during a hypnosis session. And for me, it was mind blowing. Also, fun coincidence on that one was that um, in September last year, I had started watching a show on the Greek Turkish genocide that is on Netflix. It's called Another Self. I had never heard of that genocide before. I had never heard of this war before. Never, ever, ever, ever heard of this before. This lady that I worked with was like her ancestors were part of this genocide. Like she was half Greek, half Turkish. And also this grandmother was part of this. So we had to move her. And then later I told the lady, I was like, dude, I watched a show about this whole thing and it's crazy. And it's the coincidences with the sessions were just insane. So that was also something that we really released when it came to ancestral healing. And I just wanted to mention it here because it was really, really crazy. But it happens and it's true and it impacts us.
Yeah, which is again, so strange. Now, just my logical brain is asking, and I ask this to so many of my friends that are energy healers, because I truly am just so interested. It's like, when people come to you during, like, what does that actually look like, feel like? Are you the one experiencing it, telling it to a person, or is that person sometimes, I know different people are open to different kinds of, receiving, but what does that actually like look and feel like during a session?
I love that question. Okay. So the first thing I will do is I will relax your body, your mind, so that you can feel really, really relaxed and so that you can actually feel comfortable and so that you forget to analyze and criticize and judge in everything you do in like a conversation like this, right? When you're listening like this. No, you will be completely relaxed. The relaxation helps us to really get deep into the deepest chapters of your mind. And then I take you to a safe space, which is a favorite place in nature, which can be a beautiful garden, which can be anything like that, right? Where you feel safe and comfortable. And then I take you down a path, and the path leads to, so I have you imagine all of this. So you're the one experiencing it, you're the one imagining it. And then I take you down a path that will reveal the root cause. And this path is then also divided into three more paths. The first path will go down the ancestral route or the past life route. Second path will go down the ancestral route. The third path will go down the childhood trauma route. And then your subconscious mind will let you know which path you have to go on of the three. Then we choose one path, and let's say we pick the ancestral path. And then I will have you, I will call on the ancestors and they will show themselves to you. Sometimes during that process, I close my eyes and I try to imagine with the client together. And I try to have the same image that they have, right? So that I know better what it is that they're going through. And then I can guide them better as well. But I never know what happens. Like I told you in the last, like in the session I told you, but I have no idea what happens. But I have trained my intuition, and this is something I do in my spiritual hypnosis training. I've trained my intuition in a way that I can guide any kind of session, anything that shows up during a session. I can guide you to healing. I can guide you to emotional release. I can guide you to wherever you need to be to get the most out of the session. And then once we have the root cause, once we spoke to the ancestors, once we connected with them, and once you received your healing, I will take you to your future self. And from your future self, you will receive answers of the action steps that you need to take to complete your healing. So this is like this now is good for your logical brain, right? This is now okay, I need to do X, Y, and Z. I can make a list. I can check off my list and all of that. This is for you right there. So we combine that, and I am the guide. I'm asking you what to imagine and I'm telling you what to do. But sometimes you also tell me like, hey, this is happening, or now she's saying this, and then I will have to guide you. But I have my ways of guiding, of supporting, of holding space so that it is safe for you to experience whatever it is that you're experiencing. And if you're seeing a scene that is really uncomfortable, you can always see that from a bubble from above. And I will make sure that at the end of the session, you will feel complete, you will feel good, and you will feel like, okay, I can go back into normal life now.
Love that. And I'm glad you mentioned the end too, because I think sometimes with energy healing work, it could feel a little daunting or scary. Like, oh, well, what's going to happen? Like, is something bad going to show up? And it's like knowing that, sometimes you have to go through some hardship, for lack of better words. And, but ending on a high note, ending on a comforting note is always good too. So I love that you mentioned that. If somebody was interested in this kind of work, wanted to dive into it a little bit more, two things. What would you tell them if they were maybe struggling with chronic pain, endo, whatever that looks like? Like, what would be one or two little pieces of advice that you would give them just to kind of get
So,
to the right direction?
yes. So I would always ask them, are you open?
Hmm.
And if somebody says no, then I will not work with them. But if they say yes, I'm open to, ancestral healing or to past lives. Okay, great, awesome, amazing. I will definitely work with them. And then I will also tell them before the session just to do something that they love, because that gets them into an even more relaxed place. So whether it's listening to music or dancing or drawing, something that relaxes them really, that can really help them. And then I will also tell them that I will make sure that you leave the session with everything that you need. I'm setting the intention before the session that you will leave with everything that you need. And after the session, I will ask you, do you feel complete, or is there anything that we need to talk about or do, or anything that you need so that you can move on? And so I can really hold a safe space for you during all of this, no matter what it is that you experience. That's what I would love to tell them. Yeah. And if you're interested, like find a practitioner that you really resonate with, even if it's not me, if it's somebody else, like really find someone that you love their energy, you trust them, even if it's just that you've seen them online, like really find someone who you resonate with and who you really love their energy.
Yeah, that's so important. We talk about this a lot with like, business and entrepreneurship. It's like sometimes it is what people say, but it's just their energy around it. Especially when you're doing energy healing, it's just like feeling in a safe space because if you don't feel safe, it's not benefiting anybody. Which is another thing I tell clients all the time if they're going down this rabbit hole. It's like, well, I tried that once, didn't work. Try it again, whether it's with a hypnotherapist, whether just to even just talk therapy. It's like just find somebody you align with, and sometimes it's not going to be the first person. It might be the second or third person or fifth. But healing is out there. So if people wanted to connect with you specifically, though, where can they find you?
Yes, so you can find me on my website, mindyoursubconscious.com. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and we will have all the links posted down below so that you can easily find me and connect with me. Feel free to DM me if you have any questions. Feel free to ask me, and yeah, let me know.
Mm, love that. And I will definitely put her social media links and website down below if you guys wanted to connect with her, see what she's all about, chat with her. I'm sure she would appreciate a DM if this was helpful for you guys as well. So, but I really appreciate you being here, sharing your wisdom. And listeners, of course, I always appreciate you being here as well. Definitely share this with somebody if you feel like this could be a little bit of that missing link for them that they've been looking for and didn't know they needed. And otherwise, we will catch you guys on the next show. Thank you for being here, Jenny.
Thank you so much for having me on here, Shannon, and thank you so much for the work that you do.
Absolutely.